And here we are, folks. Got no place I'd rather be than here going through a 69S bank wrapped roll with you guys. 1969S bank wrapped roll. Got no idea what's inside, but it sure is pretty on the outside. So, I'm going to relax a little bit. Have a sip or two of coffee while I'm going through this roll with you. Sit back and enjoy the show. And chat it up. There's no reason why we can't say anything in here. Let me open up this roll. Use my little tool here. It's a nice little phone opening tool. And it's plastic, so it doesn't scratch coins. And it's really good for picking at the edge of these rolls to get that paper to unroll. Kind of unravel. Once I can get one edge started, there we go. Now the rest of it just kind of comes open. Yeah, rapid fire is going to be out. Done. After this one, we've got 2 rolls remaining. They will be done tomorrow. There is no reveal show tonight. No reveal show tonight. Eric and I are both taking a break this week. I have a bunch of projects that I need to get a little bit done on. Don't have time to do much else this time around. We're not going to be having an auction tomorrow either. All right, got it open. No idea what's inside here, but we will be very carefully watching the contents of this roll. Alex, oh wait a minute, that's the last coin in the roll. Alex gets the last coin in the roll, but the first coin, first coin goes to Alex. I don't know how often that happens. Don't usually see both ends of that. First coin to Alex, here it is. And there's a couple of different double die obverses to be looking for other than the Big Johnson. So I tend to spend a little time looking for them. And then I go to the other side and kind of check up here at E pluribus unum and around that area. And I look at the initials to see if there's any thickness on the initials. But the number one place to check on the reverse is right up in this area, right here. And you will see, if you get the right coin, you'll see part of E pluribus unum right here going backwards and upside down in reverse relief, going underneath the letters here. And it's only a small part of it. Kind of looks like little shapes and stuff in the field of the coin until you kind of piece it together to be actual letters. And that is a big dollar coin. I wish I had gotten mine out. I have one in an NX slab. I wish I had gotten it out for the show so I could show it to you guys. Another thing we're watching for is RPMs. RPMs for 1969S are actually not common. Not common, kind of difficult to find. But to be quite and very honest with you guys, our likelihood of finding anything in a 69S roll is rather low. But you know what? It's one of those things where you either completely win the lottery or you walk away having purchased a chance. It's rarely in between. But the in-betweens come when you get those RPMs. When you get RPMs out of a 1969S roll, generally you've got a $10 to $20 item on your hands right away. Here's coin number 3 now. Paul Hampton. Oh, Paul. Oh, Paul, can we see? This is a nice earlier die state. It's been through a couple of later die state coins in this roll so far. Nice to see some of this better earlier stuff, but got nothing on the obverse on that coin. Searching carefully, folks. Takes concentration. I don't look at 69S rolls very often. Here's one for Dr. Thomas. And got nothing on the date mint mark. 1969S, you'll find out. If you look through enough of them, you'll start to understand. No, it's Eric, it is actually a counter clash that is an error, not a variety. I am going to start working toward the idea of listing famous errors on the site, and maybe a few of the buy errors and large die anomalies, things like the 1955S exploding head, kind of things like that. But so far, Copper Coins has only been built to deal with die varieties, and die varieties do not include that counterclash or other errors. Hello, Bellows Forge. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Have you, by chance, registered? Because if you register and you subscribe and like the Copper Coins channel, you will get notifications of all of these live events that we have. And I can come on and talk to you as long as you need to hear it, because I enjoy doing this. You wanted to see this first. I tell you what, you can actually send an email while you watch. If you've got two screens, if you've got two monitors. If you're on a phone, I can understand how that can be a little more difficult to do. But yeah, I've been told that I should be doing nature videos. Should go out in the field and take pictures of snakes and come on and tell you all about how venomous these snakes are that I'm handling. Boy, I really like Steve Irwin. He was such a great guy. And I just didn't understand why he thought he needed to touch so many very venomous snakes. Didn't make sense to me. But I guess everybody's got their quirk. And well, it's definitely one of his. He always thought it was going to be a snake that would do him in, or a crocodile. He got done in by a stingray. That's got to be a painful way to go. Can call you Furry Nana. Are you Furry Nana? Okay. Scooter, I'm going to have to start calling you Furry Nana now. Oh, you done stuck your face in it now, buddy. It's gone. Done. Done for. Here we go. All right, let's see what else I've got going on here. Keep moving along. Coin number 8 now. Coin number 8 for Taco John. And I need to make this a little bit bigger. I keep thinking I'm going to miss something minor if I don't make this big enough to see. Bigger and brighter. That's the new order of the day. I'll tell you what, folks, if you end up getting the 1969 S double die in a roll, you're not going to ask anybody whether you have a double die. It's going to be oh so obvious. That if you can't see it and you have one, you probably should pick a different hobby. All right. I hear that the pineapple opals are really hard to get. They're the opal clusters that often look like a pineapple. I seen a show on it once. It come up on my TV. Yeah, see, I'm from a small town in southern Missouri called Springfield. You may have heard of it. And not very far away from Branson, Missouri, actually. Only about 45 minutes to the north of Branson. Branson actually has its own airport now. It became so famous with old people, and well, I guess the population is getting older and Branson's getting more popular. But yeah, being from Springfield, you are automatically associated and linked with a wide array of people who speak in a wide array of different local dialects and accents. Oh, you found us through Frosty. Well, I appreciate you being here, Bill's Forge. It's absolutely wonderful to have more people. More people, the better. Bigger the party, the better. But Springfield, Missouri is the home and founding place of Bass Pro Shops, which now owns Cabela's. So you got Cabela's and Bass Pro Shops are basically together. And it's also the original home and headquarters of O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly. That's right. Auto Parts. And it's also the home to the headquarters of the Assemblies of God. It's also the home to what used to be Southwest Missouri State University and is now the Missouri State University, the Bears. It's also the home to Evangel University, Baptist Bible College, Drury University. I was born in that location. Did part of my growing up there and moved back as an adult. And I left to take a job in Florida. I worked in Florida for near a decade. And that company sold. And I left that company, and my wife had a pretty good job. So she ended up getting transferred to North Carolina, and we live there now. Interesting story about where we live in North Carolina. After I moved here, I found out that I live 7 miles down the road from where my great-grandparents lived, who I last visited in 1973. Had no idea where I was at the time and had no idea I was here back then. But I visited my great-grandfather one time before he passed on. And now I live 7 miles from that house. It's no longer there, but my great-grandparents are buried across the street from the school that was in front of that old house, which is 7 miles down the road from me. World is a very small place when you stand up and look around. Guten Tag, Herr Isaac. For those of you who might be a little bit older and have some involvement in listening to talk radio, there is a talk radio host of my day who's from Springfield, Missouri. His name is Jim Bohannon. Not sure whether he's still active, retired, passed on. I have no idea, but I listened to him back in the 80s and 90s on the radio. He came on generally late at night after the Art Bell show. Had a talk radio station that we listened to very often there. And on that talk radio station, you could listen to Dr. Laura Schlesinger. You could listen to Rush Limbaugh, Hannity and Combs. You could listen to Art Bell, Jim Bohannon. A lot of voices. A lot of voices. Enjoyed listening to radio when I was younger. It was actually a kind of a departure from watching TV. I'm not that big of a fan of watching TV. Seems like now I don't generally ever watch any TV shows. These days I'm pretty much just messing around in YouTube looking for videos to watch. I've seen probably 2 or 3 dozen different videos over time that I thought were very much well produced and well done. Hour to 2 hour long documentaries about the Civil War and about World War II. I saw one where a couple of French brothers decided to buy a dilapidating, falling down basically mansion, huge mansion in the countryside in France, and they spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, well, whatever their equivalent euro is, rebuilding this place and made it a guest hotel along with a restaurant. And it was just a wonderful show to watch them do all this restoration on this 125, 150, 200-year-old building, however old it was. But, you know, so few people want to preserve history like that. They just want to buy the land, tear down the building, and build something different. And I'm just happy to see someone who thoroughly appreciates the architecture of the past and wants to restore that history and bring it back into life so that more people have a chance to enjoy it. Something that happens with the 1969 Lincoln Sense on occasion is this area of the roof right up here. Right here on the side, this space right in here sometimes will be polished, dye polished, and it will get polished away, and that line will get polished away. Well, this area here is called the cornice. This is the cornice, and this is the roof. And if you polish this line away, this piece up here detaches and appears to be floating in midair, and we call that the floating roof. Well, floating roof Lincoln cents, especially in the 69 through 72 era, are extremely common. You should not be out there buying them as varieties. They are not varieties. They are a relatively minor case of overpolishing dyes. Same thing with missing initials coins on obverse or reverse, whether it be the VDB or the FG that are missing. They never eliminated those from the hub. What they did was accidentally polish them off. And it was an accident, yes, as errors are accidents, but it happens so frequently, there's really no collectible value for that sort of thing. Some of these have been irresponsibly published in books in the past, and of course the grading services will do whatever the collectors want them to do, and the collectors read these books and think these coins are rare, so then they want to get them graded. The grading companies oblige, naturally, because they make good profit on it. And then we end up with coins that really had no reason to be in a slab, but they are anyway. Number 19 now. Back to Dr. T. We're at 19 coins in, just now time to get started with the show. We're straight up and down 2 o'clock now. I don't think I had any others scheduled for today. If somebody could go out and check that for me, I would appreciate it. See if there's any other reveals scheduled for today. The 69D no FG is probably, well, see, you have to think about it this way. Once something is published in a book, it's always published in that book. You don't remove things from a book that's been published. So, if the 69D no FG is listed in one edition of the Cherry Picker's Guide from 5 or 6 years ago, then it will always be published in the Cherry Picker's Guide from 5 or 6 years ago. You have to have the new edition to see that it has been omitted or whether it has been omitted. And I don't know for sure whether it has been omitted because I don't think a Cherry Picker's Guide has come out in years. But what I am saying is that it should be omitted. I wouldn't spend money on them because they are too common to spend money on them. And given that they're too common to bother spending money on them, that means that there's plenty of them out there in rolls to be found. They can be had for nothing. Well, nothing extra. For 69D, you should be able to get rolls for $3 or $4 or less. PCGS might still have it listed, but PCGS by absolutely no means is the say-so on varieties. They're basically just copycatting what the variety people say, what the guides are showing you. And so they're a little slow to react when things are discounted as being untrue. There was a listing a number of years ago in the Breen, actually it's still in the Breen catalog from 1981, of a 1958 over 7 Denver Mint Lincoln cent. Got a Breen number. For years and years, the grading services would put that Breen number on those coins, and they would often sell for a thrifty penny. But it was found later that this anomaly that somebody thought was that Breen actually, Walter Breen thought was a 8 hubbed over a 7. It was found to be nothing more than a die gouge on a master die. And that means a lot of hubs and transversely a whole bunch of dies were made with this anomaly. And people were finding these things right and left and top and bottom, dead center. And they were getting them graded. And over a period of time, you really begin to realize this probably shouldn't have been this way. See, there's a almost completely floating roof. It just comes from die polishing, folks. It's got nothing to do with anything else. There's one right there. See, that one's not really attached to the base down there, so it would be called a floating roof. And I'm telling you, if I'm finding one in this roll, I can tell you that I'd find one in just about any other roll that I searched. They're that common. Nope, dirty water. We don't have any finds in this particular roll. I kind of expected it would either be a big hit or a big miss. And, well, this one appears to be one of the big miss rolls, but it was a bank wrapped roll, so you always got that chance. You always got the chance. We're taking a little extra time on this show because we're having to look at the reverses of all these to be sure that we're not skipping over the very valuable misaligned counterclash that you can find on 1969 S Lincoln Cents there on the reverse. Somewhere I know I've got a photograph of one of these online, but I do definitely have a coin. I own one of the coins. Sometimes you might wonder, well, is this guy drunk or something? How come he can't just get the coin directly under the scope? Well, if you're doing what I'm doing, talking in a microphone, you can't really even see the scope because the scope's almost 3 feet to my right. I'm sitting in front of my computer screen and keyboard and all these coins, and my microscope is way off over here to the side. So the fact that I can't see the coin go under the microscope, and I'm nowhere near in line with the optics of the microscope to see exactly where my stuff is going. I'm not staring through the microscope. I'm actually looking at an app on my screen from the camera that I have, staring down inside my microscope. And forgive if I can't necessarily align the coin perfect the first time around as I stick it under the scope, and sometimes appear to be drunkenly fumbling around to figure out where the coin meets the scope. So that should be a good explanation. We're on the second half of the roll now. Here's one for Coins and Ghouls. Let's see what Coins and Ghouls gets here. Well, nothing on the obverse. I think we're probably going to end up doing that as a regular thing in this particular roll. Looks as though we probably pulled a dud roll. I'll speed up just a little bit with these. Find anything good, I'll definitely stop. But for right now, I've not found anything worth the stop. You guys saw me break open an original roll for these. Condition of the coins inside, therefore, cannot be accounted for before the roll is opened. I try to pick the best rolls I can get and try to make sure I'm picking rolls that have relatively clean coins inside. But if you were watching the other day with the 1981 D roll that I opened, you would notice, or know, that we opened a roll that contained a number of earlier date coins that were circulated. Well, that often happens when you're wrapping circulated coins in a bank or even in a large facility, and you're going to dump another bag of pennies in so it keeps spitting out rolls. Well, you're going to dump in an older bag of stuff, and then you're going to dump in a brand new bag. there's not necessarily a complete dividing line between one and the other, because they'll stop the machine to pour more bags in. And so what you think you're buying, 100% original, bank-wrapped, solid date rolls, aren't necessarily always solid date rolls. They are once in a great while going to be mixed date rolls. That's what we got. Most of them were 1981D, but there were also coins from the 60s and 70s in there, just a few, not very many. All right, got nothing on that one. Up to number 31 now. We'll see who gets number 31, but JJ Addict. JJ, here we go. What? It's an awful fat mint mark, but I think it's just been hit pretty hard. Make it fat. Kind of get smashed, squished. Squish. That's right. Just come on in and smoosh that like button and take a chair and watch. Hope you got your popcorn with you. No, actually, this is the final roll for the day. This is 734. We've done 4 rolls today. I started with 731 this morning. I've got 2 rolls left for the remaining period of time that we currently have rolls available. One of them is the 1972 Philadelphia roll. I'll be doing that one tomorrow along with a 1992 D roll. They'll be done tomorrow, probably during prime time. Try to get it so that I can show them during a period of time where most people are off work and able to watch. Because the 1972 roll, I don't expect anything. I never expect anything. But there is some chance that it could include some double dice. So I didn't pull it just to make money on a 72 roll. I pulled that roll out because it's an original bank wrap roll, and the end of the roll shows that it doesn't have the master die doubling. Without the master die doubling, you're much more likely to get one or more of the first 9 listed double dice for 1972, are the strongest ones. I forgot to look at the reverse on that one. Let's take a look. Nothing. Nothing do I see. Okay. Move right along to coin number 34. And coin 34 goes to Ant. And one thing I can tell you, as for machine doubling, like what we saw earlier, on either side or both sides of 1969S Lincoln Cents, I can tell you that 1969S is probably the most prolific date for producing machine doubling. 1968 was pretty heavy with them, but 1969 it suddenly gets a lot worse. That kind of wore out, and about 1973 is when they kind of shook the birds out of the trees and got everything working normally. 1974, finding machine doubling on 1974 is actually somewhat uncommon. No, it doesn't have any value. It's just somewhat uncommon. All right. I'm going to go ahead and flip number 36 so we can show who's going to get it, this shiny coin guy. I get myself a drink of coffee and kind of sit for just a minute. I've learned to start cutting all of my sugar out, and so I can have better control over my blood sugar. And I'm learning how to drink coffee that is semi-sweet. I used to drink it pretty sweet, and now I only put a few drops of agave nectar in my coffee. And it's really made a change, my blood sugar, and it's also made a definite change in the way my coffee tastes. And I'm still working on getting used to that. Well, I tell you what, it definitely is, Eric. I commonly, typically, have blood sugar ratings over 300. And can tell you that it was so common and typical that my A1C was 11.5. And I didn't quit sugar completely, cold turkey altogether, absolutely, but I don't drink sweetened iced tea anymore. I haven't drank sodas in years. I haven't eaten a piece of candy or a piece of cake or anything like that in at least 3 months. And the only time I take in carbs is when my blood sugar is crashing and I need to. I've got a pack of bagels, and I'll eat a bagel with cream cheese when my blood sugar is below 69. So I can be sure to control how much it crashes. And generally, when I eat a bagel, it spikes up pretty fast. I've also got glucose tablets, the healthy way to go. Or healthier way. I quit eating rice. When I eat Oriental food, I just eat the entree. I don't eat rice, don't eat lo mein, rice noodles, any of that stuff. Because that stuff is all bad for a diabetic. Bad for diabetics. It has either pure glucose in it or something that turns to sugar. You know, I should probably get Smarties or the glucose tablets that I have. They're like a large version of a sweet tart. Yeah, I remember the sweet tarts that came in packages that you'd buy individually at the store for a dime or so. That's what these glucose tablets look like. What they taste like? Sweetened hell, basically. If I must be quite honest, they are not good. So evidently the company that supplies the glucose tablets to the Veterans Administration likes to poison us with orange flavor. And it tastes like when you chomp into one of these things and try to get some glucose in your body, it tastes a lot like the old orange baby aspirin. I used to chew up the baby aspirin when I was a little kid and was afraid to swallow a pill. I mean, this is when I was 4 or 5 years old. I'd chew those things up, then I'd have to chase them with water because I absolutely hated the taste of those things. Man, I tell you what, we're running into a dead zone for dye varieties here. Complete dead zone. Yeah, a lot of the time the flavored waters come with the chemical sweeteners, and I'm allergic to at least 2 different chemical sweeteners to the point that I could go into anaphylaxis from just drinking a sugar-free soda. So that's a wonderful trick played on me by nature, was that I'm diabetic and I'm also allergic to sweeteners. I don't put any sweeteners in any of my food for that reason. Yeah, Tang was always good, but you can't even find that at grocery stores anymore. Yeah, Tang was, well, back in my day, it had less of an orange flavor and more of just a sugar flavor. Yeah, see, Eric, the thing about carbs is I don't like having to count carbs. I mean, that's just not living to me. I just do what I can to eliminate those things that I know are not good for me. And if I don't eliminate them, I at least limit them severely. And my blood sugar has managed to stay more or less in range. I mean, I have entire 12-hour periods of time where my blood sugar stays below 150. Generally not venturing far below 70. But that will dramatically change an 11.5 A1C. There's Taco John. But kind of like drinking basically destroys your liver. You can't do a whole lot to recover from that. Eating a lot of sweets as a younger person definitely changed my outlook on life, especially if I were to continue eating sugar. Just not good. Gonna kill you if you keep doing it. And I didn't listen. I got to a point where my body barely produces insulin anymore. Yeah, I need to start working on that closer to a carnivore diet. I started off with doing chicken and eggs. Well, eggs are such to a point now that you almost have to take a bank loan out to buy a dozen eggs. So, never thought a chicken egg would turn into a delicacy. That's right, I can go out and get a tomahawk steak for less than I can get a couple of dozen eggs. And the steak tastes a lot better. I have learned that as soon as I give up my sugar fit, I start going on a salt craze. I had to watch that too because I've got mild hypertension to the extent that I probably shouldn't be dumping a lot of salt into my food. And I don't generally salt my food when I'm eating it. I take care of that while it's cooking. And man, I tell you, not having a fear of salt, I can make some mean chili. Really good chili. Spaghetti sauce. Well, I do fettuccine Alfredo. cheesy dishes. I like cheesy stuff. Well, we got plenty of rain earlier on. We got a lot of rain overnight. A little bit this morning. And now we're looking at a forecast tonight of rain changing to sleet and snow. They've got a travel advisory out for tonight and tomorrow morning. But that's probably more because you'll see some floating around in the air than is actually going to affect your driving abilities. But that it's floating around in the air and the fact that there's a travel advisory makes people drive like they have never seen a car. It's just amazing how horrible drivers become when the grass is white. Like doing jerk chicken too. Mickey knows about my jerk chicken. My jerk chicken, my Duros. A little bit of dirty rice with some beans. Hey, Andy, how you doing? I like seeing all you guys return, come back that I haven't seen in quite a while. How you doing, Andy? Are you still in the same area that you were in last time we chit-chatted? Because I got reason to make it up that direction once in a while now, and I'd like to come see you sometime. Now that I don't live in Florida anymore, I'm a lot closer to you. Of course, you know that because we've talked since I moved to this area. Oh, we ought to stay in contact, Andy. Well, that's the beginning, middle, and end of this 1969 S-roll, and unfortunately we didn't find anything of any extra collectible value in there. But, like I have always said, you never know until you find out. You gotta open it to find out. That's what we have for now. I appreciate you guys showing up. Check out the videos on the channel. Subscribe and like. Don't forget to do that. Throw me a little like on the way out the door. It definitely helps my algorithms. Helps keep me in front of other people. I know some of you have been on my videos because, well, I've got thousands of watchers on my videos. Keep working on trying to make more of those and keep everybody satiated with new and good information. And for now, I think I'm done for the day. I've got to get over to the post office. So I appreciate it. I'll talk to you guys next time. Have a great one.